All right, so tonight we're looking at USA versus Portugal in Atlanta. And look, this is way more than just another game. For a bunch of players on that field, these 90 minutes, they're everything. This is what decides if that World Cup dream comes true or if it just ends right here, right now. So let's break down this final high-stakes audition.
You know, this isn't just a friendly match. That quote from the broadcast just nails the feeling in the air. Can you imagine being in that pressure cooker? You've got 90 minutes, that's it, to prove you belong on that plane. The stakes? They honestly could not be any higher. For the established stars, yeah, this is a final tune-up. But for those guys on the bubble, this game is their whole world. Coach Mauricio Pochettino is watching every single touch, every run, every single decision. This is it, their last chance to impress.
So yeah, the pressure is on. Big time. Especially after that really disappointing loss to Belgium. The coach, Pochettino, he's clearly looking for some kind of response. And he makes 6 changes to the starting lineup. The message he's sending is crystal clear. Nothing is guaranteed. Spots are up for grabs, and right now is the time to go out and earn one.
The match kicks off with just a blistering pace. I mean, from the very first whistle, both teams are just going for it, trading blows, creating chances. It is an intense end-to-end start where you can tell neither side is willing to back down. And the U.S., they carved out some golden opportunities early on, showing they were really in this thing. Weston McKennie was so close to scoring again with another header from a set piece. Pulisic was literally inches away from a simple tap-in, and Sebastian Berhalter even tested the keeper from way out. They were definitely knocking on the door, but they just couldn't find that final touch to put it in the net. So while the U.S. offense is creating some buzz, their defense was getting tested, for sure. Portugal's Bruno Fernandes just unleashes an absolute rocket. But the goalkeeper, Matt Freese, comes up huge. Just a brilliant, brilliant save to keep the game level. A massive moment for a keeper who's trying to lock down that #1 spot.
Okay, now if you want to talk about a player who seized his moment, you got to talk about Freeman. For him, this was the audition, and man did he deliver. Even with limited minutes at his club, he was disciplined on defense and just a powerful, skillful threat going forward. He even set up a great chance for Pulisic. The commentators couldn't stop praising him. A performance like that, you have to think it made a huge impression. So after a really promising start for the U.S., the game hits its first massive turning point. Portugal finds the breakthrough, and it all starts with one little mistake in the midfield. And there it is, the 37th minute. The deadlock has broken. Francisco Trincão finds the back of the net, giving Portugal that 1-0 lead. So let's really dig into how this whole play unfolded. It all happens in 3 quick steps. It starts with a simple turnover from McKennie. Portugal immediately pounces, and then Bruno Fernandes plays this brilliant, clever little back heel that just catches the entire U.S. defense completely flat-footed. Trincão gets to the ball first, and he makes absolutely no mistake with the finish. And this quote right here, this gets to the real heart of the issue. The commentator points out that multiple U.S. defenders were right there. They were in position to stop it, but not a single one of them read the play. It was a moment of genius from Fernandes, sure, but it was only possible because of a serious lapse in concentration from the U.S. backline. So if that first goal was all about a collective defensive breakdown, the second goal was, well, it was a mix of individual brilliance and another honestly shocking defensive failure that just put the game completely out of reach. Late in the second half, João Félix just produces a moment of pure magic. He lets loose this unbelievable strike from distance that just flies past the keeper, smacks off the post, and goes in. It's 2-0 Portugal, and that's the dagger. This quote says it all. The goal itself was absolutely world-class, no doubt about it. But as the commentator put it, and he was blunt, the defending that allowed it to happen was inexcusable. So the question is, how on earth does a player that good get so much time and space that close to the goal? I mean, the contrast here is just wild. You see Félix with all the time in the world. He's not rushed. He takes a touch, then another touch to set himself up perfectly. And on the other side, the U.S. defense, they might as well be spectators. Nobody closes him down. Nobody pressures him. They just stand there and watch him line up the shot. At this level, you just can't do that. It's a fatal mistake. So, the final whistle blows, and now comes the hard part, the final verdict. What did we actually learn from this performance, and what's it going to mean for that huge roster decision that's right around the corner? 2-0. That's the final score. And that's the second loss in a row for the United States in this really important pre-World Cup window. That is definitely not the kind of momentum they were hoping to build. You know, this game was such a mixed bag.
Offensively, the U.S. actually created some good chances, but they just couldn't finish. That killer instinct was missing. Defensively, they got exposed on both goals, highlighting some really serious issues. But it wasn't all bad. You had standout performances from guys like Matt Freese in goal, who made a strong case for himself. And even the stars like Pulisic. You could see his frustration boiling over, picking up that late yellow card.
And that just brings us right back to the central question, doesn't it? For those guys on the bubble, was one good performance enough to punch their ticket? Was one quiet night enough to lose it? After a performance that raised just as many questions as it answered, Coach Pochettino now has the agonizing job of figuring out who's ready for the world's biggest stage and whose dream ends right here.